Happy Saturday, Risers. We hope you're having a phenomenal weekend. Saga and I are back with some of our favorite moments from the week.
That's right. As Congress makes little headway towards a stimulus package, airline companies and public transit departments are preparing to lay off thousands of workers if an agreement is not reached soon. President of the Transport Workers Union, John Samuelson, he joined us to discuss the impact of the congressional stalemate and whether lawmakers have abandoned transit workers.
Absent this federal government bailout, the MTA in New York has announced an intention to cut headcount by over 7,000 workers. And, whether they could do that or not is yet to be seen. We certainly would fight them tooth and nail with everything in our arsenal to prevent them from doing it. But nonetheless, that is their plan. And if you think about that, particularly in New York, which was so heavily hit by the pandemic, it was frontline transit workers that provided sort of the circulatory system fight back against COVID-19 in terms of bringing nurses and paramedics and grocery store workers to the front lines of this fight. And this would be an absolute tragedy. It would be an abandonment of frontline transit workers. And not only that, if there's a secondary wave that hits the Northeast of COVID-19 and places like the MTA in New York or SEPTA in Philadelphia engage in job cuts, massive job cuts, which is their intention, and a second wave hits, there's a chance they won't be able to make service on any given day.
I mean, Think about that. These workers literally risked their lives and, oh, by the way, in some cases, lost their lives.
Died.
To keep this country going in the midst of the pandemic, and they've been left completely high and dry.
Yeah, that's, it's just the worst thing. And you hear it from him, you hear it from many of the other union people we've talked to about, look, I mean, at the end, they've just been left out in the cold. No raises. They deserve a raise, not a cut. And yet, that's how we repay them.
Unbelievable. Last month, as you know, both the Democrats and the Republicans held their national convention. Senior politics writer at Vox, Jane Coaston, discussed the changes that have occurred in the Republican Party since Donald Trump became president.
On issues important to social conservatives, Trump essentially sounds like what a Manhattan liberal thinks conservatives sound like. So if you'll remember, there's an interview with Chris Matthews, I think, very early in the campaign, in which he says that women who have abortion procedures should be punished. And he got a lot of backlash from pro-life organizations, like Susan B. Anthony's group, basically saying, like, no, that's not what we think. But if you were a Manhattan liberal, that is what you would think conservatives think. And so I think that in many ways, the reason that the Republican Party has actually not changed that much is because Trump hasn't forced them to. The populism was a device. The populism was not genuine, no matter what people projected onto him later.
What'd you make of that, Saga?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair criticism. And she's not wrong about the social conservatism thing. I thought that was actually funny.
Yeah.
Jane has a very incisive kind of look, and she definitely sees the central failure at the heart of a lot of the Trump project and people who projected their desires onto him. I think that some of it is more legitimate than she probably gives you credit for. But yeah, I look at this point where we are in this campaign, what's happened 4 years in. I think it's a fair point.
I think it was kind of interesting. She made this comparison between the projections that people put on Obama in 2008 when they were like, if they wanted him to be progressive, they imagined that. If they wanted him to be moderate, they imagined that. And then the reality of, oh, this is like a centrist, standard issue, continuation of the Clintonian version of the Democratic Party, just with a new, younger guy. And the way that people's feeling about him changed, even who still voted for him in 2012, but felt a little bit differently about doing so. It seemed to me like there was a parallel there that she kind of drew out between the excitement and the this is our guy and he's really going to deliver these things for me in 2016 that people were able to project on him. And he was a master at saying this thing over here and that thing over there and people hearing whatever they wanted to, versus the sense I get about how a lot of people feel this time around, even if they're still going to vote for him.
No, you're right.
That does it for us. We'll be back later today with the week that was in media screw-ups.
All right, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. Tomorrow, going to be back for another round of #RisingQs, and we'll see you guys then.
Have a great one, guys.